Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to share a story with you. So I was feeling really connected, my heart was starting to crack open. I was starting to feel like love, and I was starting to feel like this genuine pull towards prayer for others, and things were going really well. But at the same time, I also realized that I had this darkness in my consciousness, up here in my mind. I was having really obsessive dark thoughts a lot. And this was confusing to me because on one level, I was really opening my heart and I was feeling this new frequency coming into my being, and this new vibration that was just higher and felt more pure and more based in love and the truth. And so on that level, things were really good. But on the other level, all of a sudden, well, I shouldn't say all of a sudden, but there was these prominent and very pronounced dark thoughts coming up. And they were really kind of getting obsessive. And I was like, well, my heart's opening. Why do I have obsessive thoughts that are negative? And what I realized is when we allow this heart-centered frequency, and when we allow the frequency, when we open our hearts to love, we're going to bring in this healing frequency. And what this healing frequency is going to do, this vibration is going to do, is it is going to illuminate all of the imbalances that are going on in our minds. And it's going to shine a light on the deluded thoughts and perceptions that are creating these imbalances. And for you to heal these imbalances, you must be willing to see them clearly for what they are. And seeing them clearly for what they are entails you feeling them, opening to them, and coming to a place of acceptance of them and loving them. That's the last thing. You must love something. When you love what's arising, it no longer has something to teach you, and it can release and reintegrate into your being. And that's what was happening, is I was bringing in all this newer energy, and it was really illuminating the darkness and the imbalances and the deluded thoughts that were still within me that need to be released. And I remember asking God, asking life to help me unearth these imbalances, to help me bring them forward to heal. Because I knew I couldn't expand into my fullest potential onto this path, onto helping others. I couldn't expand into my truth without addressing, without confronting this darkness that was still in my consciousness. And I knew there was no way around this, that I had to go through. So I was very intentional in my prayer. I was very just genuine in asking, God, please bring these up for me to see clearly so I can release them and integrate them into my being. And then shortly after, I think it was that day or the next day, I was just doing my daily yoga asanas, poses. And all of a sudden I felt this surge of energy come up. And for a couple hours there, I was just having this outer body experience where I felt like I was just kind of floating outside of my body. Like I'd literally go to touch something and it would feel like it wasn't even my hand going to touch the thing. It was just like, whoa. It was a really, really interesting, energetic experience. I had worked up a lot of energy through the yoga asanas, and that happens from time to time. And what happened is that energy actually started coming up to that exact spot in my mind, in my head, where I was able to see the darkness so clearly. Where I could feel the dark, obsessive thoughts emanating from. That's where the energy went to. and it got stuck there. And it felt like there was tons of pressure up there. And it was really uncomfortable. And I had some of the worst brain fog I've had in maybe a year or more. I couldn't focus, I couldn't analyze, I couldn't really speak well. Managing words was hard. I'd sit down to make a YouTube video and I just couldn't express because I was just there was so much. It was like a cloud in my head. And I was just so damn angry. I tried my best to open to this energy, guys, to try to surrender to it, but it was just so hard. And meditation was just like downright painful. It was very difficult to sit still. You know that agitation where it's almost impossible to even sit still and find that clarity and find that space that I always talk about. I was just in it, guys. I was in it. I was in the negative thoughts. I was feeling everything that was coming up. It was just tremendously dark. And the next day I woke up and there was this huge cloud of fear. There was this huge energy of fear flooding into my being, into my brain. And I just I had so much anger and so much fear in me. And the only thing I knew to do was to head to the mountains. I have this beautiful hiking trail about 30 minutes from where I live. And I knew that being held by the mountains always makes me feel better. There's just a vibration, a frequency there in the trees that is so peaceful, so calming. So that's where I went. I went to the trail with all this fear in me and all this anger. And as I just start walking on the trail, I'm kind of off in my own place, and this other gentleman, about 50 years old, just normal looking guy and all, just hiking, just walks by me, and I got like startled. I didn't jump or anything, but internally I felt this surge of fear and like almost panic rush up in me. I'm like, whoa, what is going on? I've got so much fear in my body. So I get a quarter mile into the trail and I'm just not feeling it. I'm like, I just don't want to do this. And there's this beautiful gondola or gazebo at the beginning of the trail where it's just a beautiful, serene setting where I love to meditate, and I just said, you know what, I'm just gonna go meditate. I don't want to hike today. So I started walking back. And as I'm getting closer to the gazebo, to where I meditate, all of a sudden I hear this really loud rustling sound, this really loud shuffling sound, and I turn to my right, and like 10 to 15 feet away is this big black bear. I'm just like, whoa. There's this huge black bear, and he sees me, and he gets spooked. He wasn't expecting to see me, and he runs up a hill only maybe 10 more feet. So he's like maybe 20, maybe 30 feet from me, and he just turns around and he's staring at me. And I'm just like kind of looking back at him, and I start backing away slowly. I know not to run. My heart is pounding through my chest, and a big part, I already have so much fear in me. So there's so much of me that's telling me, just run for your life. I'm glad I didn't do that. There was already so much fear in me. And I saw the hiker, and he triggered more. And then there's a freaking black bear. And now there's tons of fear rushing through me. And I'm walking, and then I'm walking a little quicker and quicker the closer I'm getting to the start of the trail where there's these cabins and there's these workers outside. And I had so much fear. I remember at one point, I was sure he was going to charge for me. I was sure of it. And I was just walking quickly, trying to ascertain if he charges at me, do I sprint for the cabins? Can I make it before he catches me? Or do I hold my ground and stand my ground and try to be as big and loud as possible and hope that he's bluffing? And that's what black bears will do a lot. They'll pretend they're going to attack you, but it's just a bluff. So you're not supposed to run. But thankfully, I didn't have to go through that. I didn't have to make that decision. Before I knew it, I was back at the cabins, and I was telling the workers about the bear up the way. And as I was in my car driving home, all I could think was, ask and you shall receive. I had asked life to bring these fears up for me to see. And they were starting to come up. And I was trying to open to them. I was trying to receive them. I was trying to understand what they were trying to tell me. And I finally, after several days of just low functioning, feeling really depressed, dealing with so much doubt about me, my path, everything, and just feeling like lethargic and just like kind of a dullness. The thoughts still there, the fear, the anger still there. I finally realized that my obsessive, fearful thoughts were trying to tell me something. When we open to fear and embrace it, fear transforms into an excitement for life. These fearful, obsessive thoughts were trying to tell me, stop being afraid of embracing your path. Stop being afraid of opening to life and opening to your truth. The fearful thoughts were actually saying, please start giving your gifts to life so that I can transform into excitement. The thoughts, the fear, it was trying to wake me up. It was trying to tell me you don't have to be this perfectly enlightened Buddha to start focusing your energies into helping others and to start really trying to expand. And I think so much of us spiritual people, us just anyone on this path, is we wait to act until things feel just right. You know, we want to have just the right vibration, we want to feel high, and that's great, and those times are amazing, don't get me wrong. But we have permission to live our truth and to act on our truth even when we don't feel our best. And that's something that I feel like these thoughts were trying to tell me. It's like, look, you don't have to stay small when you're feeling afraid. The one thing that I've been really coming into is express from your heart and through your heart, and just let your authentic self shine, let it loose, and don't have any worries. You know, I think a lot of us, myself for sure, is we get a certain amount of appreciation and praise and love maybe, and we just want to hang on to that. We don't want to keep moving forward and keep expanding because we're afraid, what if I mess up and I lose everything I've gained? But that's just the ego and this little me talking. And that's the opposite of how life works. Life, this evolutionary reality we live in, is all about expansion and growth. And besides, as we all know, the real reward in life isn't praise from others and acceptance and love from others. I mean, that's a bonus and it's beautiful. And it's a lot of fun to experience that. But the real reward in life is giving your gifts and living in full alignment with your truth. And the real gift in life is shining your light fearlessly. Because when you shine your light and when you embody your truth boldly, without fear, you feel one with life. And that's the greatest feeling and greatest reward of all. And that's what, if you're feeling tons of fear, that's just excitement for life. That is a sign to take action towards your truth, even if you don't feel good. And the anger, that's your power. And I've been feeling a lot of anger. And I think that's because I was trying to suppress my excitement for life. And therefore I was turning away and distancing myself from my own innate power. And I think that life did a really good job of giving me everything I needed to see these reflections. And the process can be difficult when we start getting what we need to wake up to our truth. It can look really ugly. It can look really painful. I know it does for me often. I go into these bouts of darkness, depression, anxiety, physical symptoms, headaches, all kinds of crazy things. But the truth is, that's in a sense almost the easiest part, because all you have to do is allow and surrender. And you don't need to get all entangled with it and to make a story about it. You don't need to bring your worry and concern. You just need to let the healing process unfold how it wants to unfold. It does look like darkness sometimes, because that's healing. You first have to see the darkness, and then you have to be willing to feel it. And then you have to come to a place of acceptance. And then lastly, you have to learn to love it. And the process will unfold on its own. Life will do it for you. God will do it for you. The universe will wake up inside of you as you for you. You just have to surrender. The hardest part, by far, is having the courage and the humility to ask for what you need to wake up. After that, you just let go. That's my story for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I also wrote a whole blog about exactly what I just talked about, if you'd like to read that. Subscribe it, like, share this, donate if you feel compelled to, if this is helping you and if it's bringing you value. All of that is very much appreciated. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Namaste.